The finest process and system for exponential growth and expansion, exclusively set up for the design and build sector in the country. You've already watched the first video that provides all details about how this world-class team, model, and system can generate exponential growth for your venture, and that too at just 15% of the actual costs. Now, prior to understanding the revenue and cost model, let's have a quick look at the biggest barrier to your exponential growth. Now, it's common knowledge that any business needs to attribute anywhere between 7% to 10% of total sales turnover to marketing and sales budgets. But there's a crucial mistake associated with this approach. So while attribution of 9% of the turnover towards sales and marketing works for companies with a large turnover, it fails for companies with lesser revenue. That is, companies with revenues of 1 crore to 15 crores. Now, why it fails is because a major portion of the marketing and sales expenses that's needed to make a significant impact remains fixed, irrespective of the sales turnover. Now, this is a very important factor. So, irrespective of whatever turnover that your company is at this stage, your marketing and sales expenses remains fixed. Now, for example, if the bare minimum sales and marketing budgets required for a particular city is 50 lakhs per annum, and a design and build company generates only 1.5 crores in annual revenues, doesn't mean that the company needs to spend a staggering 33% of its revenues on sales and marketing? Impossible, isn't it? And if a small and medium-sized company continues to spend just 7% to 9% of its turnover on sales and marketing, the impact would be so minimal that it would hardly create an impetus in revenue growth. So it's like a classic again chicken and the egg story. Your revenue spends are less, and as a result of which your turnover is less, and because your turnover is less, your revenue spends continue to remain less. Now, what our model does is to ensure that even though your sales and marketing spends are limited to the standard 7% to 9% of the turnover, the sales and marketing exposure is 15 times that amount, which is similar to companies with 15 times your business turnover. Now, isn't that a fantastic proposition? So what happens is, even though you're continuing to spend only about 7 to 9% of your turnover, the exposure that you're getting in terms of the sales and marketing team, process, and systems is 15 times that amount. So this provides your business with the incredible clout and impact to make a huge dent in the marketplace, resulting in exponential revenue growth of 75% or more per annum. Huge, huge factor here. Now that's how this infrastructure provides your design and build venture with a level playing field alongside companies with turnover of 100 crores or more. So now, despite the fact that your own turnover might be anywhere between 1 crore to 30 crores, you're getting a level playing field alongside companies with turnover of 100 crores or more. Now, it provides you with the flexibility to pay for the team, process, and system in proportion to your growth requirement so that you may expand fearlessly. Now, this is a very important factor. Now, when you normally set up a new branch in a new city or probably you expand, what happens is your expansion growth might not be proportional to your spends. Your spends can be extremely disproportional to your growth. So here you can actually expand fearlessly without the apprehension of having to bear fixed costs that are far higher than your current capacity. So now that we've understood the benefits, let's have a quick look at how flexible and highly affordable the revenue and cost model is. Now, this is a typical revenue and investment model for turnkey projects. That means that the entire project is awarded to you on a turnkey basis. Now, here if you notice, your expenses, both the fixed and the variable, is more or less a fixed percentage of your total revenue that you generate per annum. Okay, so let's have a look. For example, if your intended, that is projected revenue per annum, if you're targeting a revenue of roughly about 1.4 crores, then your monthly expenses, that is monthly investments towards this entire team, right from sales to marketing to relations to quality control to operations to admin, the entire team comprising of CSOs, chief marketing officers, branch heads, regional heads, vice president, commercial, residential, the entire gamut, the entire team comes to you only for a recurring cost of just 59,000 rupees. Isn't it astonishing? If you were to set this entire thing up yourself, the minimum cost that you would have to incur is about 6 to 7 lakhs. And that too with a disproportionate revenue. That means there's no guarantee that if you were to set up a branch of your own, with a 7 to 8 lakh rupees investment per month, that is a recurring expense per month, there is no guarantee that that branch would start yielding about 1.4 crores immediately. But here, even though this is also a projected revenue, at least the fact remains that your expenses remain at just 59,000 rupees a month, which is roughly about 7 lakh rupees per annum, to target a revenue which is roughly about 1.4 crores. So now you have a system in your hand where you can absolutely decide what is the level of growth of turnover that you are looking for and accordingly plan your monthly budgets around that. So this gives you the leverage to actually expand to multiple branches at the same time. So which is why our model advocates that you can look at probably about 7 to 8 cities of expansion, and we are obviously looking at 7 cities in the first phase and we are adding another 5 cities in the next phase. So let's look at another example. Okay. Now suppose you're targeting a revenue of about 5 crores, 5.5 crores. Your monthly expense comes to roughly about 2,36,000 rupees. Now this again includes the entire social media campaigns, the budgets, the salaries, the infrastructure costs, the rental costs, the laptop costs, the marketing software costs, all the sales, marketing, admin, operations, customer relations, entire team that we've already discussed in the first video. It's an absolute all-inclusive cost. There is no fine print. There are no hidden charges whatsoever. So to target a revenue of about 5.5 crores, that is design and complete build turnkey projects, your monthly contribution remains only 2,36,000. That's it. So now let's have a look at the design and supervision projects. There will be a lot of projects where you get only design and supervision as part of the entire participation. So here also your entire cost of, for example, suppose your monthly investment is about 59,000. The revenue that you're going to make in only design and supervision will be roughly about 28 lakhs per annum. That means out of 28 lakhs that you make, 67% comes to you and only 33% remains the cost of acquisition, which is roughly about 25% is the fixed cost of acquisition, which is towards all the expenses that I told you, your social media campaigns, your salaries for the entire team, deployment, the entire same team that is available for a multinational company, you have access to that same team. So fixed cost will be roughly about 25% and the variable cost is going to be roughly about 8%. That means out of 28 lakhs, a colossal 67% comes to you. This again gives you the predictability and the confidence to expand fearlessly based on the own resource in terms of time and expertise that you have in hand. Okay. So for example, suppose you decide that you want to target a revenue of roughly about 1.13 crores. That means, and that's to only revenues from design and supervision. Then your entire monthly commitment again comes to only 2,36,000. So prior to our telephonic discussion, it will be highly recommendable, that you decide the ideal plan for design and supervision and the turnkey projects prior to a discussion. So it would be ideal probably, the best way to target would be to look at a turnover which is slightly higher, about 50% higher than your current turnover. For example, suppose your current turnover is roughly about 3 crores, then you can probably target an amount anywhere between this 2.77, that is 2.77 crores will be roughly about slightly higher than 50%. So 3 crores and 1.5 crores. So let's say your current turnover is roughly about 3 crores, then 3 plus 1.5, that is 150%, will roughly come to about anywhere between this and this. So what you can do is you can choose a plan which is slightly between this and this. So this plus 50% of this, so roughly about say 2.2 odd lakhs per month would deliver you a turnover of roughly about 5 crores. So this plan is extremely flexible. I mean, we are looking at it on the basis of productivity per crore. You can also add a few rows into it in terms of having a productivity of 1.5 crores, 2 crores, 2.5 crores, 3.5 crores, and so on and so forth. It's extremely flexible. You get to decide what turnover to target. We've given you an indication, an idea that ideally you should target a growth which is 150 times, 150% of your turnover. So if your turnover is roughly about 3 crores, you should target about 4.5 crores. If your turnover is at 5 crores, you should target a turnover of 7.5 crores. Now, please note that this 7.5 crores is over and above what you're currently doing right now, which means if you're doing 5 crores right now, you will continue to do this 5 crores with whatever current revenues or whatever current sources that you have towards generating it, whether it's through references, word of mouth, friends, colleagues, or whatsoever. But we are talking about growth of 5.5 crores or 7.5 crores over and above your current turnover. That's a very important point to make. Now, to just summarize what we've already mentioned, this completely outsourced team process system for the divisions of sales, marketing, customer relations, procurement, and quality control is for a very limited number of just about 78 design and build partners per city. This is very, very important because we need to maintain the quality of the entire program and model. Now, what we're targeting is as a goal of delivering a bare minimum 75% growth in revenues in the first year and a 35% year-on-year growth in revenues for our design and build partners for the next 5 years. So it's very, very important that we are looking at this association for a longer tenure. We are not looking at partners for a 3-month or a 6-month association, because the entire journey of developing relationships with all the international property consultants, with all the project management companies, with the domestic property consultants, it's a long, arduous, and a very disciplined journey. So we are only looking at partners who want to travel with us for the next 3 to 5 years. We are not looking at partners with a short-term association. That's a very, very important factor for you to note. And obviously, the entire thing comes to you at just 15% of the actual costs. Now, obviously, just to reiterate what you mentioned earlier in the first video, this will help your business to set up presence across multiple cities at the cost of just one single branch. So imagine the huge potential that you have with you, the huge leverage that your business will have. So at the cost of just setting up one particular branch, you can set up branches in Mumbai, Pune, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, Delhi, and Ahmedabad. So chances are very high that your business might already be in one of these branches. So you have two options. You can not only expand, but you can also outsource your current sales and marketing and customer acquisition process to us in the current city also of your choice. So let's look at the remaining steps, which are the final steps to decide. One is, prior to our telephonic conversation, decide on the ideal growth and expansion plan prior to our telephonic discussion. The plans that I showed you, you can go back to this video, or ideally I'll send you another file. You can decide on the ideal growth and expansion plan which is most suitable to you. Recommendation, you should ought to ideally target a 150% revenue growth plan. For example, if your current turnover is 3 crores, you should ideally select a 4.5 crores revenue plan. So over and above 5 crores that you're going to generate every year, you already have your existing 3 crores. That means you're going to grow to about 7.5 crores in the next year. Second is, after a telephonic discussion, make a payment of just rupees 51,000 as intent amount towards your participation. This is very, very important because we are setting up a system which costs a huge amount, close to about 65 lakh rupees in recurring expenses per month per branch. So we want to be very clear of our participants who are serious about joining, and so this intent amount is the first step towards confirmation of your participation. Once you've paid us the intent amount, we will mail you the agreement for digital signature. The agreement can be in tenure of 9 months. It's the minimum tenure of association 9 months, but it can grow up to 3 years and even more. Next is, make the payment towards the setup investment and the first month's recurring investment. Once you've emailed us back the agreement, after you've digitally signed the agreement, then you've got to make the balance payment towards the setup investment and the first month's recurring investment. The setup investment again is extremely minimal. It's slightly higher than just 1 month of recurring operations. That's all. So final step, once you've done all these formalities, your venture is now underway to generating a 75% growth. So let's look forward to our telephonic discussion very soon after you watch this video. Thank you and have a great day.